It started with the smell. My name is Claire. I'm 31. And 6 months ago, I closed on my first house in a sleepy suburb outside Columbus, Ohio. It was a 1950s brick ranch on a quiet cul-de-sac called Sycamore Court. 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, finished basement, and a big backyard that backed up to a wooded ravine. The price was stupidly low because the previous owner, an elderly widower named Mr. Harlan, had died in the master bedroom. Heart attack, the realtor said. Nothing gruesome, just old age. The family cleaned it out fast and wanted it sold. I didn't care. After my divorce, I wanted something that felt like mine, not another apartment with paper-thin walls and neighbors who partied until 3 a.m. This place had good bones, original hardwood under the ugly carpet, and the kind of silence you only get when the nearest traffic light is a mile away. I moved in on a Saturday in late August, sweating through 3 trips with the U-Haul, and by sunset, I was sitting on the back patio with a cheap bottle of wine, listening to cicadas and thinking, this is it. Peace. The first night I slept like the dead. The second night I woke up at 2:17 a.m. because the house smelled wrong. Not musty or moldy, something sweeter like old cologne mixed with unwashed skin. I sat up, heart thumping, and sniffed the air. It was strongest near the hallway. I grabbed the baseball bat I kept by the bed, divorce gift to myself, and crept toward the front of the house. Nothing. The smell faded by the time I reached the living room. I told myself it was leftover cleaning chemicals or my imagination working overtime in a new place. I opened every window, sprayed Febreze like a lunatic, and went back to bed. 3 days later, it happened again. Stronger this time, right after I got home from work. I'd just kicked off my heels when the scent hit me. Definitely body odor and that same cheap cologne. I checked every room, even the basement. Nothing moved, no windows open. The realtor had given me the keys and the garage door opener. The house had been empty for 2 months. I started keeping the back closer. The little things piled up so gradually I almost missed them. My coffee creamer would be half gone by Wednesday, even though I only drank 1 cup a day. A pair of my running socks disappeared from the laundry basket and reappeared, folded on top of the dryer 2 days later. One morning I found the toilet seat up, something I never do. I live alone. I started photographing the rooms before I left for work just to be sure. The photos always matched when I got home. Except once. The throw blanket on the couch was draped differently, like someone had sat there and tried to put it back exactly. I called my best friend Jess and told her. She laughed. You're just adjusting to solo living, babe. Houses settle, buy a Ring camera if it'll make you feel better. So I did. 2 cheap indoor ones. One in the living room facing the hallway, one in the kitchen. The app was easy. Motion alerts to my phone. For a week, nothing. Then, on a Tuesday night in September, I was on the couch watching Netflix when my phone buzzed. Motion detected living room, 11:42 p.m. I paused the show. The camera showed nothing. Empty room, but the alert had come from the living room cam. I rewound the footage. At 11:41:58, the frame went completely black for 4 seconds, like a hand had been placed directly over the lens, then cleared. The blanket on the couch was now slightly bunched at one end. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I bought a 3rd camera and put it in the hallway, aimed at the attic access panel. That little square hatch in the ceiling had always creeped me out. The realtor had said Mr. Harlan used it for storage, but the ladder was missing, so I'd never been up there. I told myself I was being paranoid, but I still wedged a chair under the hatch every night. October brought the first real noise. I was in the shower after a long day at the accounting firm when I heard 3 distinct creaks directly above me, slow, deliberate, like someone shifting weight from foot to foot on old joists. The bathroom is on the far side of the house. Nothing should be above it except attic. I stood there frozen, water running, listening. Another creak, then silence. I got out, wrapped in a towel, and stared at the ceiling. No water stains, no sagging drywall, just that faint cologne smell again, seeping through the vent. I called a handyman from the neighborhood Facebook group. He came that Saturday, set up his ladder, popped the hatch, and climbed up with a flashlight. I waited in the hallway, arms crossed. "Find anything?" I called after 5 minutes. His voice echoed down. "Just some old boxes and mouse turds. Want me to bring the ladder down so you can look?" I climbed up. The attic was low, maybe 4 feet at the peak, running the full length of the house, insulation everywhere. A couple of taped-up cardboard boxes labeled Harlan. Photos in Sharpie, and dust so thick it looked like gray snow. No sleeping bag, no trash, no footprints, except the handyman's fresh ones. He shrugged. "Probably just the house expanding in the heat. These old places talk." I paid him $80 and felt stupid. But the noises kept coming. Always at night. Always when I was in the bathroom or bedroom. Never when I was actively listening for them. Sometimes a soft thud, like a shoe dropping. Sometimes the low groan of a floorboard. I started sleeping with the TV on. I bought a second deadbolt for the bedroom door. Then came the video. November 3rd, 2:14 a.m. My phone screamed with an alert. Living room camera. I fumbled for it in the dark, opened the app. The timestamp showed the camera had triggered, but the clip was only 8 seconds long. In it, a shape, definitely human, moved from the hallway into the living room, paused, then stepped backward out of frame. The motion was smooth, practiced, like someone who knew exactly where the camera was. The blanket on the couch moved again, settling. I called the police at 2:30 a.m. 2 officers showed up, looked at the footage, walked the house with flashlights. They checked the attic, nothing. The basement, nothing. Every closet. One of them, a woman named Officer Ruiz, took my statement and actually seemed concerned. "Ma'am, we see this sometimes. Squatters in vacant houses before closing. But this place has been yours for 3 months. You sure the cameras are working right?" I showed her the hand-over lens moment from weeks earlier. She frowned. "We'll file a report, increase patrols on your street for a few nights, change all your locks tomorrow just in case, and maybe get a dog?" I did both. New locks, deadbolts, everything. And I adopted a 70-pound pit mix rescue named Juno from the shelter. She was sweet but protective. She slept on the floor beside my bed like a furry bodyguard. For 12 beautiful days, nothing happened. Juno never barked at night. The camera stayed quiet. I started to breathe again. I even had friends over for Thanksgiving, Jess and her husband, my coworker Mike. We laughed about my haunted attic and drank too much wine. Mike went up the ladder with a flashlight just to prove a point. "Totally empty, Claire. You're good." December arrived cold and gray. The first snow dusted the lawn. One Thursday night, I came home late from a client dinner, kicked off my boots, and fed Juno. She ate like she was starving, which was weird because I'd left her a full bowl that morning. I checked the app, no one had come inside. I shrugged it off. At 3:07 a.m., Juno woke me growling. Not barking, just this low, continuous rumble from deep in her chest. She was staring at the bedroom door, hackles raised. I grabbed my phone. No alerts. But the hallway camera had gone offline at 2:58 a.m. Said low battery, even though I'd charged it the day before. I slipped out of bed, phone in one hand, bat in the other, Juno glued to my side. The house was freezing. I could see my breath. I crept down the hallway. The attic hatch was open, just a crack, maybe 2 inches, but definitely open. I'd wedged the chair under it before bed. The chair was now pushed against the wall like someone had quietly slid it aside. I didn't scream, I didn't run. I just stood there, phone shaking, recording video. Juno's growl got louder. Then from above the ceiling came the softest sound, like a sigh of relief. Like someone had been holding their breath for months and finally let it out. I backed into the bedroom, locked the door, called 911. While I waited, I opened the Ring app and checked every clip from the last 24 hours on fast forward. At 6:12 p.m. the night before, while I was still at work, the hallway camera showed a thin, pale hand reaching down from the attic, slowly pulling the hatch closed from the inside. Then nothing until 2:58 a.m., when the same hand reached down again, opened it, and the camera died. The police came. This time 3 cars, K9 unit. They went into the attic with guns drawn. I waited on the front lawn in my pajamas, Juno on her leash, snow falling on my head. They brought him down 10 minutes later. He was maybe 45, filthy, rail thin, wearing layers of my winter clothes, my North Face jacket, my wool socks, even my dead ex-husband's old Ohio State hoodie I'd kept in the spare closet. His name was Daniel Reese. He'd been living in my attic since 3 weeks before I closed on the house. He'd crawled in through a loose vent in the back during the final walkthrough, when the realtor left the side gate unlocked for the inspector. He'd been there the whole time, watching me through the vents, eating my food at night, using my shower when I was at work, sleeping 6 feet above my bed. The cologne smell? His. He'd been using Mr. Harlan's old bottle he found in a box. He told the officers he just needed a place to stay after losing his job and apartment. He said he liked that I kept the house quiet and clean. He said he never meant to scare me. He even folded my laundry sometimes, to be nice. They found a nest up there. My missing socks, empty food containers, a journal where he'd written my daily schedule, what I wore to work, how pretty I looked when I cried on the couch after a bad day. He'd taken hundreds of photos on an old flip phone. He'd been there 132 days. Daniel Reese is in county jail now, charged with burglary, trespass, and a dozen other things. The judge denied bail. My house still smells like him sometimes, especially on cold nights. I had the entire attic professionally cleaned, sealed every vent, installed cameras pointing up there too. I sold the house in February and moved into a bright 3rd-floor apartment downtown with a doorman and no attic. But every once in a while around 3 a.m., I still wake up smelling that cheap cologne. And I check the ceiling just in case. Because the worst part, the part that keeps me up, is realizing he was never loud, never broke anything. He was careful, polite even. He could have stayed up there for years if the camera battery hadn't died at the exact wrong second. So if you ever buy an older house, especially one that's been empty for a while, pull down the attic hatch. Shine a light up there. Look for flattened insulation, food wrappers, or a sleeping bag tucked behind the rafters. And if you ever smell cologne that isn't yours in the middle of the night, don't tell yourself it's nothing, because sometimes the house isn't empty. Sometimes it's just waiting for you to stop looking up.